Were you aware that the top 10 highest paid players at the quarterback position have never won a Super Bowl?
No, I wasn't.
I was not
I
aware
was
of that.
not either.
And the reason why that became interesting to me is because there's a guy that plays for the Indianapolis Colts, quarterback by the name of Daniel. He is the poster child for poor drafting, why the Giants suck, all that stuff, right? But there's a guy in Jacksonville, always seems to go, you know where I'm going with this, because I was never a fan, never a fan. And he's just gone under the radar. No one's talked about him, but an interesting stat came across. Those two stats came across. The first one where the top 10 highest paid quarterbacks have never won a Super Bowl, which I think is marvelously interesting. We can talk about that in a minute. But this stat, and shout out to Black Sports Online for bringing it out, it's when your eyes match the record book. So one quarterback is 22-38 in 60 starts in their first 60 career starts. The other one is 22-37-1. Both quarterbacks have won one playoff game or played in one playoff game, excuse me. Total yards, one has 14,898. The other one has 14,605. 69 touchdowns for Trevor Lawrence, 62 for Daniel Jones, 42 interceptions for Daniel Jones, 46 for Trevor Lawrence. Dude, this is like, wow. 85% completion percentage for Trevor Lawrence, 84.3 for Daniel Jones, 63.3 completion percentage for Trevor Lawrence, 64% for Daniel Jones. I'm going to go back up to the beginning. 22-38, first career starts, first 60 starts. 22-37-1 for Daniel Jones. Sell me on Trevor Lawrence. Sell me on why I'm to believe Trevor Lawrence is still a franchise quarterback.
I used to be fervent in my defense for him. I used to be thinking like, hey, you know what? If you put this situation here, if you do this, if it's the ifs are out. Yeah. You're taking number one overall. You can't choose where you're taking, but you were supposed to be the best guy in that draft. You were supposed to be the guy who could lift up and make other players better, what your franchise players do. You lift them up to make them better. And then you just look at what he had pieces around him. You look at the receivers, the weapons around him. I know Christian Kirk is not among the ones who you think like, oh, top receiver. He's good enough. The problem is he can't stay on the field. But when he's on the field, you can maximize his potential, his talent, and that never happened. So he's on his third coach now? Third, fourth, what have you?
And not just, hold on, sit there in that aisle for 1 second. He's had Urban Meyer, who last I checked could coach football. I mean, like, morality aside, he can coach football. He's won at the highest level in college. He's won in college, the highest level he's coached at college. He comes in the NFL, he sucks. Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl. I mean, with Nick Foles. And all of a sudden, he can't coach. Okay. We're going to see, man. At some point, it don't take all day to recognize sunshine. I never brought into Trevor Lawrence when he was at Clemson, and I couldn't figure out why it was. I couldn't figure out what about him I didn't like, because he did look the part, but it just felt like he was surrounded by so much talent and so much speed. And it wasn't that he had that one monster, but he just had so much talent around him on offensive line, head coach, assistant coaches, skill positions, that I just didn't see anything that popped, And now I'm looking at a guy in Jacksonville that 4 years in, going into his fifth year. I mean, he's one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league and one of the most losingest ones. Floor is yours.
The only thing I will say in his defense, and I think if you look at Eagles, you dodge a bullet. Doug wanted to bring the offensive coordinator, Press Taylor. Doug wanted to bring him in after the 2020 season. He wanted to make him the OC. And now if you look at it, it's fun to play the what-if game, but if you brought Press Taylor in that offensive system with Peterson there, basically you brought in Philly, you skip Sirianni, what have you, like him or not, you skip Sirianni. You could have been in such a bad spot now with that whole thing. So Press Taylor's, the whole wide receiver, you can run RPOs, but you can't run them every single play. You can't run a wide receiver screen every single play. So that some of it's on him. I put 70% of the blame like on Trevor Lawrence's career on him. 30% of that stuff, you look at the system, you're like, all right, yeah, the Press Taylor he's just not an all good offense. He's a good assistant. Even then, I question him because I think I told the story beforehand about what happened that night, Jalen Hurts during the regular season finale of what he was doing with Carson Wentz instead of helping Jalen Hurts. So I question him as an assistant. I know that was Wentz's security blanket. I digress.
That's all pretty and cute. I'm going to go back to Trevor Lawrence and just ask you a simple question. How much longer? His division is Tennessee Titans, Indianapolis Colts, and the Houston Texans. The quarterback for the Houston Texans, C.J. Stroud, came in and set the world on fire, playing in that very same division. So it can be done. from go. D'Amico Ryans was a rookie head coach in all sense of the word. I remember D'Amico Ryans at Alabama. That's how young he is. Came in and set that division on fire from the outset. Mike Vrabel, outset. Ryan Tannehill. So my question for you is, how long are you going to wait for this bus called Trevor Lawrence before you call you a new one? I'm just asking.
Well, I think when you look at it, he's got 1 year left. I think because what's going to happen, they're going to give Liam his year. They're going to say, we're going to let you coach, install your system, teach it to the players. If you don't see Lawrence really pick it up, or he struggles, still keeps throwing interceptions, the completion percentage is down, that's when we start to look at the rumblings of, and if Jacksonville's bad again, they're not going to have a great record. Higher draft pick in a really rich quarterback draft next year, that's when I think we start to see the struggles. And then we start hearing the trade rumors of, well, we can offload them, and some mediocre team, probably Cleveland Browns, so we know that Cleveland Browns are, we'll take a flyer.